Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. So, as Annabella was stating, so now we'll present to you the Article 31 and thereafter the Article 20. So, starting with the 31, when the Article 31 is applicable, basically it should be applicable when the interests of the Union are involved, following concerns relating to quality, safety, or efficacy. It can concern also a medicine or a class of medicine, but the main difference, as you can see, is that it's when no urgent action is required. Because in contradiction to the 107I procedure, here you've got possible clock stops. So basically, several lists of questions can be addressed to the MAH, and so the timetable is not as strict as the 60-day Annabella clearly described. So, but keeping in mind that, there is no urgent, this procedure is followed when no urgent action is required, still some urgent action to protect public health are possible. And I will go into further details in the next slide about that specific point. So now, what is new for Article 31 is the safety Article 31 versus the quality and efficacy driven Article 31 are different. In a way that basically it will imply, these differences imply involvement of different committees. So when pharmacovigilance data will be triggering, the triggering point of the referral, PRAC will be involved. When quality and efficacy data will be the triggering point of the referral, then CHMP will be involved. I will go also into more details into this point in the next slide. Also, the pathway of announcement will be different. Again, the possibility of public hearing can happen when you've got a safety Article 31, and as you can see here, it's very clear. So basically, the one I'm presenting to you now is the safety Article 31 referral. So as you can see, it's initiated by member state or commission or MAH. The time limit is 150 days with a possible clock stop, but as these 150 days are allocated as 60 plus 60 days for PRAC assessment, plus 30 days for CHMP or CMDH. The consultation is MAH, but as well public hearing. So as Annabella was describing to you, within the frame of the 107I, it's the same concept. And the outcome will be, so as here we've got PRAC involvement, the outcome will be a PRAC recommendation leading exactly the same way as for the 107I, leading to CHMP opinion or CMDH position, and with a commission decision as applicable. So to go back to the point I was telling you about, of course, within 31, urgent action to protect public health can be taken, such as a member state can suspend the marketing authorization at any time. In Article 31, safety referral, re-examination of the procedure can be requested by the company. Yes, sorry, you.
Just to highlight one thing, because as Vanessa said, here we have the possibility of public hearing, but what we don't have, at least the legal possibility, it's for requesting from the very beginning participation of all stakeholders. So here it's still pretty much the old traditional referral, sending questions to the companies, receiving answers from the companies. There is not a specific provision in the legislation allowing a free participation of all stakeholders. And that's apart from the public hearing, that it will be, but in terms of written submissions, or it's not there. And this is a difference with the Article 107. But yes, public hearing is still a possibility, and there everyone can participate. Yeah.
Now, with regard to quality and efficacy, Article 31, as Nabella was just mentioning, that the old Article 31 you really know, which is, again, initiated by the same triggering body. The time limit is, again, the 150 days, but divided differently. The consultation is the MAH without the possibility of public hearing, and the outcome is a CHMP opinion due to CHMP pure involvement. And the urgent action to protect public health is the same one. Member state can suspend the marketing authorization at any time. Re-examination, again, possible. So in summary, I just wanted to put two very simplistic slides, but I think it's very visual. So when no urgent action is required, is a 31. The triggering body are on the top of the slide, member state, commissioner, MAH, or applicant, who will send the notification to the network. This notification will either trigger the referral based on pharmacovigilance data, either triggers the referral on quality efficacy. If it triggers referral based on pharmacovigilance data, it goes to PRAC, and if it triggers based on quality efficacy, it goes to CHMP. And then, so the PRAC will assess within the 150 active days timetable, may have a public hearing, and it will go to CHMP to reach an opinion, or to CMDH to reach a position. In parallel, exactly the same, but as I said, divided in a different way. The timetable of 150 active days will apply for CHMP to reach an opinion when the Article 31 is triggered based on quality and efficacy data. Just one point that I found out of interest is for you to know that the re-examination, if possible, as I said, in both, but the re-examination is foreseen to happen at PRAC when it's an article, safety Article 31, and it's foreseen to happen at CHMP when it's quality efficacy Article 31.
No, just because I'm not absolutely sure if all of you are familiar what is a re-examination. The name by itself, it explains. But in fact, for certain procedures in the legislation allows the companies to disagree with the outcome of the committees, being PRAC or CHMP. And it means, in practical terms, that there will be a delay of a final outcome of at least 120 days, because these re-examination procedures in the legislation give 60 days for the companies and 60 days for the committees to reconsider the subject. So probably sometimes if you go to our website, we will be puzzled because, I don't know, the example of calcitonins, we came to a conclusion in July, we announced it, we published, the CHMP came to a conclusion. And then probably if you look at that November outcome of the CHMP, you have seen again calcitonins there. The reason being that a company or a group of companies didn't agree with the initial outcome of the CHMP, and the legislation for certain articles like this one foresees the possibility for the companies to ask really for an appeal of that initial opinion. And that's the reason why. And as you can see, this is another big difference between the Article 31 that is supposed to be a slower one from the 107, because the 107, the legislation doesn't allow for a re-examination. So whatever will be the recommendation of the PRAC or the CHMP, that will be a hit, and it will be to be implemented by it. So unless then the companies go to other court, or but there is not the possibility during once there is a scientific opinion to appeal such opinion, and that's also a big difference between these two procedures.
Yeah, George.
I just have a quick question with regard to that re-examination. And does the company that disagrees, do they have to provide some additional data, or can they just say, no, we don't accept that? And so what kind of documents or what kind of evidence or additional information does the company have to provide before we start almost the process again?
In fact, they don't and they shouldn't submit new data. It's really an appeal of the initial review. They can go to the CHMP assessment report, to the CHMP conclusions, and say, okay, we don't agree that relative risk is 1.4 because according to our meta-analysis or according to the data we provided, but they are not supposed to provide new data, because otherwise it will never stop. So a re-examination is really, as the name stands, it's to re-examine what was submitted initially, but it's another possibility to say, no, we don't agree with the conclusion of the CHMP because of this and this and that, but it's based on what the CHMP concluded, and it's really what they submit, the only document they submit for this procedure is what is called the grounds for re-examination, and the grounds is really going, you know, they should go to the CHMP opinion and the assessment report. They say, okay, in page 3 of the assessment report, CHMP concluded this and this. We don't agree because this, and that. So that's the process of re-examination.
Is there any way that you could just say, well, these kind of grounds for re-examination are trivial, we're not going to do that, and because you're not actually, well, you're just trying to prolong the kind of process rather than actually having any kind of valid points that merit re-examination?
No, in fact, no. Unless, and sometimes we have a couple of cases that they are not trying to argue the science, but sometimes they are trying to argue the procedure itself. But it's really a provision that is clearly foreseen in the legislation. And the other thing is that the companies have 60 days to submit these grounds after the adoption of the CHMP opinion. And by our experience, I can tell you that they never submit it on the first day after the opinion. They always, you know, it's on day 59 or day 60 that they submit. So till they submit, we cannot also, you know, so immediately 60 days are gone, in fact. Yeah.
Just to clarify one thing as well is that, okay, it implies a delay, because at the end of the way, it implies a delay. But we will be fully transparent. We are, in a way, fully transparent in the sense that the opinion is published, and even now, following Annabella's presentation, even with the assessment report will be published, and even the fact that there might be a re-examination, it doesn't prevent that we will go ahead with the full recommendation from the committee, and we will publish the full recommendation of the committee together with the assessment report. We will also make public the fact that the company has requested the re-examination and that the re-examination has started, so at least that you know exactly where in the process are we. Francois?
So, if I understand, only companies can ask for the re-examination, but on the occasion of a re-examination, can clinicians or patient organizations give comments or opinions? Because that already has happened in a way, and I'd like to know if it is formalized or...
I think it's not formalized, but I think there is a full guarantee that whatever information is received at any time is taken into account. It doesn't mean that it's going to have an impact, but it's fully taken into account by the committee, and this is put to their attention. Albert.
Should there be your information from your side, for instance, and it's really relevant information, or it can be relevant, I think that the whole procedure has to start again, for then you have a new procedure.
Yes, it does happen.
But as a matter of fact, I've been member of such kind of meetings, but you can't say too much about it, for it's all highly confidential, but nevertheless what you see is that parties are bringing new information to the table there. However, it's not the means to do so, but it's not a part of the considerations.
Just make it clear, because they are bringing, of course, they bring new arguments, new information, but they are not bringing new data.
If you don't have any further question on the Article 31, maybe we can move on to the Article 20. So the Article 20, again, can be considered within the frame of assessment of quality, efficacy, or safety issue. So what is new for that one? Basically, all manufacturing and quality issue that was dealt within an Article 20 before is now being dealt exactly the same way. So what is changing is, again, the safety concerns. So just as a quick reminder, for quality manufacturing issue, basically the Article 20 of the regulation remains as such. It applies, all Article 20 applies for CAPs, for quality related, and the triggering body being the Commission or the Member State, and never MAH or applicant. So to ensure public health, in that case, there are also tools, which is the provisional measure tool and the possibility of the member state to suspend the use of the product. And for Article 20, the legal basis of Article 20, the streamline is that no re-examination is foreseen. So that is related to quality in manufacturing issues. Now, what about safety? So when pharmacovigilance data are concerned, we've got the same pattern as the one we were saying previously for the Article 31 safety related. Again, you've got implications such as involvement of different committee, praxis, HMPC, MDH. The pathway of announcement is different, and possibility, again, of a public hearing. So the question that should be addressed for the Article 20 safety related is basically the marketing authorization, what it is. Is it a cap, centrally authorized product, or does the safety concern is in relation to CAP and NAPS, national authorized products? So that's where it starts to be a little bit complex, because basically for the Article 20, what was added within the frame of the new legislation is the Article 28 and the Article 29. The Article 28 concerns only centrally authorized product, and the Article 29 concerns the centrally one and the nationally authorized product. So just to try to keep it simple, so basically when you've got an Article 20 triggered and when the safety concern only refer to centrally authorized product, you've got clear procedural steps to be followed, either if it's urgent, the step defined by Annabella, which is the 107I one, when it's not urgent, the step of the 31. But still, the legal framework remains an Article 20 with all its implication. Then, when you've got the safety concern is a concern for centralized and national authorized product, then it will not be the steps that you will be following within that Article 20, but the legal framework of that procedure will change in the way that this ex-Article 20, which consider CAPS and NAPS, will be actually a real Article 31 or 107I like we described before. So again, here, how it will be decided on the base of urgency, yes or no. Just here, it's just for I thought it would be of some help for your specific interest to have in a tabular format the comparison between 107I and 31, and which is absolutely along the lines that Annabella was telling you before. So basically for the 107I, she described for you the possibility for healthcare professional and public to submit to the agency relevant information to the procedure through submission of data. In the case of the 107I, that apply. In the case of the 31, that will not be the case. And again, for the temporary measure, that exists for the 107I, but not the 31, bearing in mind that other tools are, as previously described, possible to ensure public health. So this here, I put it here just, I know it's within the frame of the Article 20, just to also show you the main difference and also the application of the Article 20 of the procedural step of the 107I or the 31 with the main differences. So would you have any question on the 20 or... yes, that is my last slide.
Just to finalize, just a very brief overview, very light information that you don't need to make an effort anymore to understand. So, no, just to show you how much does it mean in terms of safety referrals. And in fact, I have put here the figures for 2011, 2012, and as you can see, it's about 50% of all the referral procedures we receive, because we have also the quality issues and the efficacy issues, but in fact safety referrals represent around 50% of the referrals we deal with. And just to give you some examples how it has been till now, pre-PRAC, because these will be things that in the future will go to PRAC, and making a link to the articles we referred to. So we have the Article 20 for the centrally authorized products. We had a number of Article 20s over the last year and this year with significant issues, like the one I'm pretty sure you heard about for Avandia, leading to the suspension of the marketing authorization. Then we have other types that it's a mixture of centrally and nationally authorized products that till now we had to have like parallel procedures. So we had to have like Article 20 for the centrally authorized products, Article 31 for the national ones. And this has also now been simplified with the new legislation, because if you have a mixer, you put everything in the same basket, one single procedure, and it's much easier for everyone. And then these Article 5.3s I referred to at the beginning, that is really a scientific opinion. It doesn't have any binding decision. It doesn't go to the Commission, but it's really just an opinion of the committee on a specific scientific issue that can be a safety issue. And these were two cases that we had. So then we had already the standard Article 31's benefit, risk, or safety related, that in the future will, or now will also go to the PRAC. And then we already had a provision under Article 107, and we had a couple of them, when a member state suspended a national authorization, that now it has been converted on the 107I with all these changes. And this is just to give you an overview. Since the PRAC started in July, we have started this number of referrals. The last four probably you have not heard about because they will be published tomorrow. It's the one starting this month. So all of them for the time being Article 31s, meaning no urgency involved. So the majority of them are traditionally benefit risks, like almitrine, diacerin, and yeah, then we had more safety-related codeine, diclofenac, but this is the overview for the time being, what we have received to PRAC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a few questions. So Gritsy first.
In case that there's not really a safety concern with a medicinal product or a manufacturing problem, but a case where with an inspection it is seen that a pharmaceutical company does not comply to the new rules of the legislation, and that this is really an issue, what kind of procedure does this case fall under?
To the impact of these findings on the benefit risk of the product. And we had last year for BVL issues that concern around 13 centrally authorized products. We had also cases of GCP issues just recently in September. That was also as a result of an inspection in relation to the conduct of clinical trials. There were some serious findings found, and then we had a review of the products that were concerned. So there is a possibility, even if there are other mechanisms. I don't think it's the first mechanism you will use as an outcome of an inspection to immediately have a referral, because I think there are specific mechanisms to deal with outcomes of inspections, but it's really when you really think that could have an impact on the benefit risk of the product. Or yeah.
Francois?
In terms of actions of what you can do, there are still some things that are not completely clear to me. Peter Arlett explained that there are some problems due to the drugs and others due to the way the drugs are used in some member states. And if we go back to the case of dextropropoxifen, Diantalvic, I think there was a referral. And the problem was that in UK and Sweden, it was dispensated in large bottles, and that was popular to commit suicide. And in the rest of Europe, there was not this problem. But you had to take an harmonized decision. For us, it seemed that it would be more logical to impose to these two countries to stop dispensating in bottles of 50, but in blister of 8, like it was done everywhere else in Europe. But because you can only have harmonized decisions, the only decision you could take was to withdraw the product from the market. Was it the case, or are there cases where you can impose to member states to change the way they dispense the drugs to solve the issues?
Not to impose to the member states the way that... no, in fact, we have several cases. You can impose further risk minimization measures that can be, as you were saying, reduce the pack size. This could have been the case. So for dextropropoxifen, the case was really that despite the risk minimization measures that were proposed by the companies, the CHMP still considered, or the majority of the CHMP still considered that this would not be enough to overcome the potential serious risks leading to fatalities and so on. So it's not that you can impose such measures. You can, as part of an outcome of a referral, you can impose risk minimization measures that can be, we have already had cases like reformulation of the product, that can be, I can recall a number of years ago when it was the whole issue of paroxetine, Seroxat, that one of the conditions of the referral was really for the company to develop and market as soon as possible a 5 milligrams tablet that would allow to avoid the withdrawal syndrome. And so this we can do. The committee only goes to suspension or revocation when go through all these ticks. Okay, we change the SPC, we send communication to the healthcare professionals, we think. So they really tick the possible risk minimization measures that can be taken, and when the decision comes to be, no, okay, we think the benefit risk is still negative after all of these, then they go to suspension. But there is a possibility to impose all these kind of, and a very, another example that was, it was for instance for ketoprofen topical use, it was the first time that as an outcome of a referral, the legal status of a product in Europe was restricted because ketoprofen topical use in some member states was OTC, in other member states was prescription only. And as outcome of the referral, due to the serious photosensitivity reactions, it was clearly put that all marketing authorizations had to be subject to medical prescription. So all this is possible as an outcome of a referral.
But I don't agree with your view. I don't think so that they try to harmonize just for the sake of harmonization. Is that when it is triggered, they look at the full benefit risk and then they take the best conclusion everywhere, the best recommendation. Any other question? I think also just to come back before to the re-examination is that it's true that usually when there is a re-examination, very often more and more we have SACs systematically, and during the SACs now, patients participate systematically. So this is another way by which patient will contribute at this stage. Because the fact that we are challenged, the opinion is challenged by the company, we try to convene a group of experts to look again everything and to give a more reassuring opinion. And here are the patients now systematically. So it's a way to bring them back.
But also not even at re-examination. I think more and more also during the procedure, because the point is that a referral, by definition, or when it starts, it's already because, you know, there is a significant issue, because otherwise the member state or the commission will not bring it at European level. So in general, there are difficult discussions, and in general, the committees try to get as much information, as much as you know, opinions from independent experts and so on. So more and more, if you look at our procedures that are published, you will see that more and more, even during the procedure, there is always a SAG or an expert meeting that is organized. So